You guys should have known this was a serious video when I brought you to the classroom. We don't joke about it in the classroom. I'm about to take you guys to school. That was cringy, but you know what I mean. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kamsi if you don't know me, and if you do already know me, hi, welcome, thank you for coming back. And in today's video, I'm going to teach you guys all of the things I did to get an internship in my first year of university with no corporate experience. If anything is relevant, if you want any more detail about anything specifically, then I'll probably do that in a different video. But this is the overview, this is the big drop, especially because now today I'm filming it, it's like September the 6th. It's back to school season, and if you're in university, that means it's application season. So I thought there's no better time than now for me to give you guys, you know, the drop on everything that you need to, by God's grace, get a summer internship. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So I think the most important thing I'll provide is some context about me. So at the time of applying to everything, I was 18 years old. I was in my first year of university at the University of Warwick, starting accounting and finance as a degree. And my degree falls under the Warwick Business School, so Warwick is quite competitive when it comes to things like corporate experiences, especially the business school. Everybody's fighting for some kind of role. So I say in that sense it was quite helpful, but I did not apply for these opportunities through my university's career service, as good as it is, because there's the Warwick Students Career Service and then there's the WBS, the Business School Career Service. So we even have our own slightly separate section, but as good as it is, I actually didn't employ those services as much as I could have. So don't feel bad if you don't go to work, or if you do go to work and you're not in the business school. Don't feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm not in the business school, they're not gonna choose me. I didn't use the business school resources. So that is everything about me. I'd say the first step to getting an internship, or the way that I did it, was to have a spring week. Now, if you don't know, a spring week is also known as an insight day. It's a short period of work experience where you get to experience like work and life in the workplace. Usually they range from 1 to 5 days, depending on the program, depending on the bank, depending on the institution that you go to. And usually it's a lot more focused on career development, personal development, and just getting a feel for like the culture of the company, as opposed to like actually going in to do work on the job. It takes place during the Easter holidays of your year, and it's usually for first year students on a 3-year course, or the second year students on a 4-year course. So my course, I'm doing accounting and finance without a placement year, which is 3 years. So I did it in my first year. But my friend that's even doing a placement year, he's gonna be in his second year. Like, we're in the same year, second year, but his course is 4 years. So he can do spring weeks this year, but he couldn't last year. So do bear in mind, if you are a 4-year course student, I don't think, in fact, I'm just gonna say, like, you can't do a spring week in your first year. You have to wait till your second year. Some spring weeks are paid. Some spring weeks are unpaid. Regardless, do you want? Like, I think one of the biggest priorities, I know right now it's application season for summer internships, but your biggest priority, especially if you're within the law sector, finance sector, accountancy, those kind of corporate jobs, get a spring week. In case you don't see already why they're so beneficial, I'll just share some of the benefits with you guys. You get the chance to ask questions about different sectors, different roles, different careers, different areas of the bank. I'm very banking focused because I do finance as a degree and my spring was in finance. So do bear with me. But I'm pretty sure this can apply to law, this can apply to accountancy as well. So you get to network already with no career, no experience, nothing. You get to network with career professionals, MDs. I think I had one of my springs, I was having a conversation with one of the managing directors, guys. I didn't even know he was the managing director of the company. So obviously you can connect vertically with like people in different positions above you, but you can also connect like across university, across courses. Guys, I've made friends with people that are doing like art subjects in like different universities that I would have never met if not for like these kind of opportunities. So you get to boost your network that way. It looks fantastic on your CV, guys. What? In this day and age, yeah, in this competitive job market, if there's one thing you want to do, it's boost your CV. Anything you can do to make that your CV a bit spicy, any name you can just drop there, don't play. make sure you get an opportunity that can like boost your CV. So that's another benefit, just to name a few. And so just in terms of me, where I applied last year, off the top of my head, guys, when I tell you one thing, I was spread far and wide. I did not pick an industry. I think the only industry I didn't apply to was law, because I know that reading is not my favorite thing to do in the world. So I didn't really know what a law spring week law experience would look like, especially because I don't study law. Although with that, I would say most spring weeks assume a base knowledge of 0, and there'll be some kind of program within the program where they have like an opportunity to bring people up to speed. So I know with the 2 finance ones I had, and I'll get into that in a little bit, 2 finance ones I had, like the first, like half of the first day of the spring week was spent like going into different terminology, like financial terminology. So I'm assuming with other like sectors, they assume 0 base knowledge. But for me personally, I just said, let me not even go. So with law, I can't give you personal advice, but some of the banks and just different institutions I applied to JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, Citibank, KPMG, EY, PwC, pretty sure Goldman Sachs had a program, Nomura, Deloitte, just to name like 10. And when I say that there was so much more, Bank of England had an internship program. When I said that I was applying far and wide, I wish I could show you, but I deleted it. I had like on Google Sheets, I had a tracker. So I had like the name of the bank, the sector, the application deadline. I lied to myself, by the way. I put in a fake deadline because I didn't want it to be like towards the like the actual deadline and I miss it. So I put like my deadlines in, I put like a little fake one. Then I put like the different stages of the application process, which I'll get into shortly, like whether I'd completed it. And then when I got rejected, I just crossed it off and kept going. Like every single day or every other day, I was just looking for more and more opportunities to look into. And you need to be really, really organized with this process. Please don't come and apply to 3 and just think like, yeah, those are my 3 and I'm gonna go with it. Because really and truly at this stage in your career, unless you know deep down fully what it is you wanna do, don't block your blessings by picking, oh yeah, I wanna work here, here and here. How do you know? So keep your mind open. The only thing that would stop you from applying to a certain company is if your values don't align with the companies. But aside from that, do not put yourself in a box at this stage in your career. Please, we're just starting. Keep your mind open. So obviously for those companies that I applied to, some of them did, some of them didn't, but they all had the same pretty much application process. So I'm gonna talk you guys through that process. It's just 5 steps. Step number 1, your CV and your cover letter. Guys, this is the quickest way for them to say yes or no from the jump. If your CV is not in a format that they like, and if you don't have a well thought out cover letter, just stop this video here. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you guys next week. But if you're serious, if you're a serious candidate, yeah, and you really want to get a summer internship, you really want to get into some kind of experience, your CV and your cover letter is the most important thing. Now, I can go into more detail about this, but after the most important things, your CV must not be more than 1 page. I don't care who told you 2 is fine. Please, no. One is actually enough. Thank you. You have enough experience to fill 1, by the way. 1 is enough. Number 2, please don't come and put your picture on your CV. Don't come and do fancy letters. I know if you go on Microsoft Word templates, some of the CVs that they have, no, that's not what you want. What you want in your CV, at the top, I might link a template. I'm gonna make you guys a template and I'm gonna put it in the description, because I was gonna link my actual CV, but then I realized like you will know where I live, where I went to school, all that information, you know, it's kind of scary to just put out there. But I might make you guys or find you guys a CV template. At the top, you want your name. I put my phone number on mine, no one really calls me, but you want your name, your email minimum, and maybe a link to your LinkedIn. Then the first section is your education, from most current to oldest. So I have university, secondary school, A-levels, and then like GCSEs. You don't need to go and put your primary school in there. I know you might want to fill in space. You don't need to put your primary school on your CV. The next section is your work experience, again, from most recent to oldest. Please, as I said, I had no experience going into this process, and by the grace of God, I secured 2 spring weeks, 1 at Citibank and 1 at Deutsche Bank. On my CV, I had worked in hospitality. I did agency work, I put that on there. I was an economics prefect for economics club in my school. I put that on there. That thing only properly ran for maybe one term in year 13. Still, that's experience I put on there. I think I taught 2 or 3 basketball lessons when I was in year 11s to year 9s. I put that on there. Guys, please, any experience can be made into good experience. I was also one of the head girls at my school, so I put that on there as well to show like leadership and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to say is don't downplay the experiences that you have. If you've had the opportunity to work this summer, whether it's in retail, agency work, you've done something in a particular sector, put that there, because all they care about, especially at this stage, is transferable skills. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think there's any talent manager like HR that when they look at your CV, they're looking to say that you worked at this and this bank at this stage in your career. Everything can be made into transferable skills, so don't even feel any kind of pressure about that. So that's what I'd say. So the first thing I said was no more than 1 page. 2, please check the formatting. After the work experience section, you have maybe skills, interests, maybe awards that you have, language proficiencies, things like that. You could just put that like at the bottom, because something that I was told actually was, yeah, it's cool to have all of this great stuff that you've done on your CV, but like these employers actually want to see a bit of your personality. And I think there was an interview where in the interest section, I put content creation, and one of my interviewers asked me about it. So we had a little chat about that in the interview. So don't be afraid to put the things that you like to do. If you want to put anime there, you can put anime there. If you want to put sports there, you can put sports there. If you want to maybe doing a Rubik's Cube, hey, if you can make it sound spicy, then by all means, like, don't feel the need to kind of conform to this image that you have what it's like to be a banker and that you have to be like super formal and stuff like that. No, not at this stage, please, don't stress your head. So yeah, that's what I would say about CVs. With regards to your cover letter, the format I used was 3 paragraphs and like a 1-liner sentence at the start. First of all, you don't actually have to put your cover letter in the formal letter format. I don't have an address on mine, but I have like a general skeleton that I use, and this is the most helpful thing you can do. Have like a skeleton that you can adapt to each of the banks or the places that you apply to. The most important thing you can do when you're writing your cover letter, and even when you're applying for the interview section, even as part of your CV, tailor your cover letter and what you do to the values and missions of the company, and also the skills that they look for within the role. So the most, like, when they actually advertise the role, they're gonna have like, oh yeah, we're looking for someone who's this and this. That section, put that in the skills section of your CV, number 1. Then 2, when you're applying to the company, you're gonna go to the company website and you're gonna like scroll to like the About Us section, where all banks have it. They'll talk about their values, the culture there, and the missions. What you need to do is tailor that your CV to kind of incorporate those cultures. So for example, say I'm applying to Bank A, and one of their values is integrity. That's usually a common one amongst banks. My cover letter will look something like this. So the first line of sentence will be like, hello, my name is Kamsi Ajoku. I am an accounting and finance undergrad at the University of Warwick, and I'm applying for a place on the insert name of bank or program. The first section will be why this industry. So what drew me to finance? For me personally, I copy and paste that paragraph from my personal statement that I wrote how many years ago. That personal statement that I wrote, yeah, is probably one of my favorite bodies of work. The finance section of that personal statement, I just copy and paste it. I like to talk about equity. I was like, oh yeah, I'm a Nigerian. I like to look at equitable finance to make sure that everybody has the right infrastructure to invest. A lot of financial jargon, yeah, we're not going to get into it. So that's the first paragraph. The first paragraph is why the industry. Then you break it down. The second paragraph is why this company. This is when the values, the mission, the culture comes in. You can say that something that I love to find about the company is that one of the main values is integrity, which aligns very closely with me because I believe this, and this, and I would like to be at a company that aligns closely and acutely with my mission. Choose maybe 2 to 3 values from the website that you can go in depth about, and they can be like, okay, we see that she's the kind of person that aligns quite closely with what we believe and what we're trying to do here, and then HR is looking at that and thinking, yup, good. So introductory line, why the industry, why the company, and then the final line is kind of like a why me. This section is usually a bit harder to write because it likes to give like pick me energy, and I don't like to beg. But this is where you guys have to beg. You have to beg and just show them why you're that person, like why you're just that guy and why you should employ me, because I'm just the best. I'm the best thing that your company could ever have, and you just have to believe it. When you're writing that cover letter, you have to lose shame. I'm the best thing you can ever see, best thing since sliced bread, and if you guys don't employ me, you're gonna lose like millions in profits. I beg you, please don't come and write that, but that's just the energy that you have to give when you write it. So draw from your experience from your CV. Again, I took some stuff from my personal statement because, hey, use what you've written before. If it's worked in the past, who's to say it won't work again? Do you know what I mean? So that's for like the cover letter and CV portion. That's step number 1. Step number 2, congratulations. They've seen you, they like what you do. You'll now move on to the online assessment. If you've done 11 plus exams, you do verbal reasoning, numerical reasoning, sometimes non-verbal. If you didn't do 11 plus exams, essentially you have like a test about, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like you look at shapes, you're like matching the shapes, or if it's something wordy, they want to see how you think or how good your vocabulary is. A lot of these vary from each company to each company. Some of them you'll probably have a situational judgment where they'll give you a statement and you choose a couple of options, what you would do in that scenario. Again, the best tip I can give you for situational judgment is, even if the response is not necessarily what you personally would do, choose the response that aligns with the company's values. Please, please, guys, please. This is where I went wrong. And my friend in the year above me, when she gave me this advice, I just thought to myself, like, duh, like, obviously you should be as honest as you can, because if you don't actually align with the culture at the company, you're gonna hate your time there. But if you really want to go back to that About Us section that I previously mentioned, the choice that aligns with what that thing says, just go and pick that one and click next. Like, even if it's not necessarily what you would do, please just click next. And then that's how the best way to tackle the situational judgment. But usually I find the online assessment portion quite simple. Again, depends from company to company. One of the companies I applied to, I did one for McKinsey, which is a consulting firm, and the situational judgment, like the online assessment, was a game. And I've never been more perplexed in my life because there was no right answer. Like, it was literally a game, but the choices you made, the whole point of it for the company is to see the way you think. So the reason I did what I did in the game, they would assess it and think, okay, this is why she did that, and that is what she thought of, etc. Step number 3 is the HireVue interview. Not all of them have a HireVue, but I think pretty much all of the ones that I applied to had a HireVue interview. Essentially, HireVue is a platform that they use to conduct a virtual interview. So essentially, if you guys are my laptop, for example, they will like flash on the screen a question, then they'll give me like 30 seconds to prepare my answer. Sometimes you can practice like speaking to it, because for some people, talking to a camera like this is not the most common experience. So like you can practice speaking to a camera initially, then you answer the question on screen and they send it off. What I didn't know, so I'm gonna tell you now, is that employers actually watch those interviews. Don't be like me. There are some of those HireVues that I did in my pajamas. There are some of those HireVues that I was not looking presentable at all. There were some of those HireVues where I didn't really give it my all, because in my head, it was like a practice for the real thing. So I didn't really take it too seriously. When I got to that spring week and I was talking to someone on HR, she was actually like, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember watching your HireVue. I said, excuse me, what do you mean? I did not know that you guys actually watch that part of the application. They were like, yeah, they watch it and they can screen you from that point. So you can be, again, yes or no from that point on. So always put your best foot forward. The kind of questions you get with HireVues tend to be Oxbridge style, want to see how you think type questions. So essentially, show you're working in real life. That's the most important thing I can say about HireVues. Cool. Moving on to the 4th part of the application. Congratulations, you made it to stage 4. For some people, this is the most nerve-wracking part, the in-person interview. The in-person interview where you actually meet with someone either in HR or in the division that you're applying to. This for me is the most comfortable part, because I think the earlier stages are a lot harder. But essentially, the STAR method is your best friend. When they ask you a question, what was the situation? what was the task you had to carry out, what was the action that you made, and then what was the result of your decision. Make it very specific to you. They want to know how you went through it step by step. Try and make your answers as quantifiable as you can, so give them a number if possible. If you don't have a number, make it up. Please, like, guys, be honest, but if you don't have a number, make it up. I wrote on my CV that when I was doing agency work, I was serving up to 100 plus customers during football matches. That may be true, but am I going to really now come and say that I counted every person that I served beer to before they went to go and watch Tottenham play? I can't come and say I did that. So make it quantifiable. If the number's a bit skewed, don't be like outlandish about it, but give them a number so you can see, okay, like this person is actually focused on results. That's the kind of thing we like to see. So the STAR method is the most important thing for the in-person interview. And also, just go into it with this mindset that they want to give you the role and they're trying to see why you're the perfect fit. Like, you're just proving to them why they're correct, as opposed to they don't want to give you the role and you're trying to convince them why they're wrong. Because if you go in with the first mindset, you're a lot more comfortable, more smiley, more engaged. You know, you're making good eye contact, you're laughing sometimes, you know, asking them questions, things like that. So go into an interview as positively as you can. Interviews are a lot of fun. You just get to know somebody, and always go in with a question. Like when they say, do you have any questions at the end? Have some pre-prepared questions. Prepare a question in advance. And in a worst case scenario, ask them about their journey and let them talk about themselves for about 20 minutes. And then the final step to the application process, you've made it this far, is your acceptance. So congratulations. Okay, I know I said the final step was the acceptance, but I have a bonus step for you guys. And this is why I said at the beginning, the most important thing you can do during that Easter break is secure at least one spring week. All you need is one.